Hi, hello, and welcome to Lily's Library. So today we're going to be deciding on my July TBR. Now, usually I wrap my TBR and my wrap-ups into the one video, but I wanted to split it up this time because I want to try and pick out some books a bit differently. So I thought it'd be easier to just do them at separate times. I also need to try and get a bit ahead with some filming stuff, so that just works out a bit better. So stick around for my wrap-up for June because that will be coming next week. But yeah, we're just going to get into it. So I already have some books decided on, and I know I will be carrying over whatever books I don't finish in June into July. There is one book I'll talk about because I started it and made like no progress, which I'll be carrying in. But I think I'm going to save those ones that I have decided on for the end, and we're going to actually use my reading prompt cards as well as my TBR jar to help me decide on some books to read. Now we're going to see if I can actually stick to this. I feel like it's always 50-50 when I do these ones, and I feel like I haven't really been sticking to my TBRs, but I'm definitely trying to view them more as a mood board now rather than like a strict to be read list. I think that's a better way to go about it, but we will see. I want to make a lot of progress on my physical TBR throughout July if we can, but we'll see how we go because like I said, I've got a few library books and there is also an arc I will need to read. But I've shuffled these around a little bit, so we're just going to pick, a red one. Let's do a green one. I think I'm going to pick 3 of these and we'll pick 3 prompts from my jar because I think there could be some double ups. But I've got my 3 cards. Let's see. So the first one is a book with a color in the title. I don't actually know if I have any of these, but I will have to have a hunt around for that. Then we've got a book from an author you've never read before, which will be a pretty easy one. Then we've got the longest book on your TBR, which I've got some very chunky books. I might actually cheat and swap and put this one back just because I'm not going to have time for that one, and I'm saving the long books for a different point in the year. So we've got a new card, and that is a sci-fi book, which should be an easy one as well because I've got a few sci-fis. I think we'll pick 3 out from here as well. I think I'm just going to over pick my TBR and then we can just narrow it down later maybe. Oh god, these are all stuck together. Okay, well I've got 3 here that are kind of all stuck together. Let's see. First up, a book set in winter, which is actually good. I think I picked this before. I'll have to look and see if I do have a book set in winter, but it's winter at the moment, so that's fitting. A romance book, which I don't think I have any romance books I haven't read, so I might need to swap that. A book by an author you've read but didn't like. I'm going to put back the romance one just because I don't think I've got any romance books at the moment that I haven't read, and I'm trying not to get anything new. Book 1 in a series. I don't know if this is going to focus. Yeah, book 1 in a series, which actually works out. So I am going to go and try and gather those books. I might take you with me. I do already have 2 books here that'll work for those prompts, so I am going to count them as that just because I want to make things a little bit easier on myself. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so I'm going to decide on these ones here because I think behind me I should have books that match these. A science fiction book I've definitely got because this is my sci-fi shelf here. And I've got a couple of options. I have downloaded from my library the new audiobook for the new Murderbot book, which would count as a sci-fi, but I'll probably actually end up listening to that before the month. So I think my options would be The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee or Letters to Our Robot Son by Cadence Bell, which is a queer one that I've been wanting to read for a while and actually started reading and didn't get very far into. So I can't decide. Let's see. Let me read the first page of both and see what I'm in the mood for. Okay, I think I might save Sako for another month just because I've got some other long books. So we are going to go with Letters to Our Robot Son by Cadence Bell. Okay, now I need to find a book with a color in the title. I don't actually know if I have got one. I have Black Sun. Are we counting black as a color? Because technically black is a shade if we're really getting down to it, but I think I'll decide on Black Sun. This is something I've been wanting to read for a while, so we will add it to the TBR. Or I do have another option actually that I just thought of that would help me complete another TBR challenge. We've got The Isle in the Silver Sea. I actually put this on my TBR a little while ago, but didn't get around to it. But this would also help me complete my 12 books in 12 months TBR challenge, which I am behind on. So I think I might decide between these 2 for the prompt and we'll make a decision. Technically, silver is a color as well. Okay, now we've got our other two sheets because I already had one. A book by an author you've read but didn't like, and a book set in winter. I'll have to have a think. I feel like usually with books by authors I don't like, I don't read more from them because there's usually a reason I don't like them. But I don't think I have anything, if I'm being completely honest. I think I'm going to have to put that back. I don't know why I put this in the jar. I'm going to chuck it in the jar again. I'm going to leave it there for now, but if I get it again and don't have an answer, then I'll get rid of it. But we're going to try another card now. A book adapted into a show or a movie. I don't know if I've got anything. I feel like I've definitely got stuff, but I can't see anything anywhere. I do have an option upstairs actually that would also help with my 12 books in 12 months TBR, so I think I might run up and get that in a second. But I need to think of a book that's set in winter. I don't actually know if I have any. I feel like it's so hard to find books set in winter and in seasons that are like properly marketed as that. I don't know if this is set in winter or if it's just the design on the cover, but it does make it look very snowy, but I would prefer something a bit shorter if I can. Okay, let's go have a look on my other shelves for these. Okay, this is like my fiction shelf. I don't think any of those are set in winter. Beasts of the Little Land maybe has some winter settings, and maybe When Sleeping Women Wake, but none of those scream winter to me. And these would kind of count as adapted to a TV show, but these are like more based off a TV show, so I'm not going to count those. What else have we got here? Oh, The Secret History is set in winter at times, isn't it? I think I'm going to check upstairs, and then if not, I might come back and grab The Secret History. Okay, we have got my options. I genuinely don't know if any of these are set in winter. Like, there's definitely some that I've read that was set in winter. I think I'm going to grab the TV show adaptation because I'm going to get Pachinko out. So let's see if I can get this easily. And I think we might need to repick that sticky note because I don't know if I do have any books. Maybe some of these classics? I feel like some of these classics would definitely have winter settings, but I can't think of any. So yeah, we're going to go change that. Okay, I'm going to change the winter setting one as well. This is not going well, but I can't find a book that's set in winter. Okay, we've got a yellow one. What's this? A book set in the current season. That's the same prompt, so I'm going to try again. I think if I don't get another one, I might just leave it and see how we go. A book set in summer. I also don't... I'm sick of these season ones. I need something that's not them. Okay. 50th time is the charm. A red book. So a book with a red cover. I can easily do one of those. There is actually one I was wanting to read. The ending writes itself. So I think we're going to call that there, and I'm going to go through these. I just need to tidy up a bit because I'm definitely getting stuff everywhere, but I've got a really intimidating stack in front of me now that we need to narrow down. So let's go through them. Okay, starting with the first prompt, we've got a red book. I picked The Ending Writes Itself. This is by Evelyn Clark. This is actually co-written by two authors. It is V.E. Schwab and is it Kat Clark, that's right. So I'm very intrigued by this one. This is a murder mystery. I've been very much enjoying murder mysteries, so I feel like now's the perfect time to read this one. It's not super long as well, and I feel like it'll be a good one to get through and to maybe break up some of these other books, but I'm very excited for this one. It says 6 authors, 1 private island, 72 hours to write the killer ending. World famous author Arthur Fletch is dead. His final novel, the most anticipated book in history, remains unfinished, but the ending won't write itself. When 6 struggling authors are invited to Fletcher's private Scottish island and presented with the opportunity of a lifetime, the plot thickens. Whoever writes a worthy ending will receive a game-changing book deal and $2 million. Why have they been chosen to attend? Who is behind the investigation? And just how far would they go to secure a place on the bestseller list? They have just 72 hours, a typewriter, and a blank page. All they have to do is write. Interesting. I'm very intrigued by this. I'm assuming obviously the authors start getting killed off because it says, but starting is often the hardest part, but getting to the end could be murder. Interesting. I'm definitely very intrigued by this one, and I haven't actually heard too much about it, so I would like to get to it soon, but should be a fun one. Okay, next we have got a book adapted into a show or movie, and for this one I'm picking Pachinko. This is actually one of the 12 books on my 12 months, or 12 books in 12 months TBR. It's one I have tried to read a few times, and I think if I take it slow throughout the month, I can get to it. I just struggle with historical fiction at times, so I'm intrigued by this one. But this is set in Korea in 1911. In this, we follow a young girl who has become pregnant by a married Yakuza, and she ends up meeting this man who promises her a new life, basically, if he follows her to Japan and marries into his family. So we kind of follow these different generations as they navigate it. I've heard that it is really beautiful and sad as well, and I'm very interested by it. I'm not really someone that reads a lot of intergenerational stories, so I'm very intrigued. Okay, now we've got two options for a book with a color in the title. Now, I was originally thinking The Isle in the Silver Sea, because this one will help me with my 12 books in 12 months TBR, but it is a bit long as well, and I don't think I'm in the mood for it at the moment. So we might try and lean towards Black Sun, but I also don't know if I'm in the mood for that. So to consolidate, I think we are going to actually axe both of those, and I'm going to save them for another time. Then my next card was a science fiction book, and for that I'm picking Letters to Our Robot Son. This is by Cadence Bell. This is an Australian sci-fi book. It says, an unexpected story of life, family, hope, and redemption to the end of the world, maybe. Arto wakes up in a desolate world devoid of humanity. He's a robot, he knows that much, but he has no memory of how he got here. With a mysterious letter and a cheeky kitten as his only companion, he embarks on a quest to understand his existence. As Arto navigates the unfamiliar landscape, he stumbles upon a cantankerous robot who claims to be his sister. And that's a problem, because she might be the reason there are no people. It sounds really interesting, and I did try reading it a while ago when this did release, because the publisher sent it to me, but I just didn't get very far into it, and for some reason just didn't pick it up again. But I would really like to try it again. It is a bit on the shorter side as well. Okay, next up we have got a book one in a series. Now, I had a few options for this, but I think this is just going to be the easiest because it's something I'm already planning on reading. I don't think I'll finish it in July, but if I don't, it'll carry over into August. And that is Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. This is book one in the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, the last trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings universe. And I'm so excited yet nervous for this. This is obviously set decades after the events of the other books, and Fitz is kind of being thrown on another journey and another path he has to take, so I'm very interested to see what this is like. Then my final prompt was a book from an author you've never read before, and this is one that I'm carrying over from June, and that is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I don't know what happened to the cover here, something must have spilled on it, but I started reading this month but didn't get very far into it. I'm still only on chapter 3, so I would like to read more of it throughout July and see if I can finish it, because it's something I really want to get to, and I've heard really interesting things, and I think the writing is beautiful, and there's some very interesting characters, but I definitely want to continue this one. Okay, now that I have got those prompts done, I'm going to go through the other books that I have selected, because there is a few others. Now, I've got 4 library books here, as well as one other book off of my physical TBR, and then one ARC that I wanted to talk about as well. So we're just going to go through all of those as quick as I can, because I think this is actually, my camera is actually going to die. So starting with the book on my physical TBR, I've got Heaven by Miyako Kawakami. I read Sisters in Yellow last month, and I really enjoyed it. I was contemplating Breast and Eggs, but it's a little bit longer, so I want to read this one first. I don't really know what this is about, but I'm intrigued to find out. My sister said it's her least favorite of Kawakami's books, but I still want to give it a go. Then I've got a few books in from the library. These are due kind of mid-month, so I might try and extend them, but we'll see how we go. The one I really want to prioritize is Talking Up to the White Woman. This is Indigenous Women and Feminism by Eileen Morton Robinson. I might end up buying a physical copy of it myself, just because it is quite dense, so it's something that could take me a while, and I feel like I'll want to highlight and save things. I've also got Want by Gillian Anderson. This is a collection of like sexual fantasies. It's submitted anonymously, and then it's been collected by Anderson. And I'm very intrigued by it. It's been one I've been wanting to read for a couple years, so I'm very interested in this. I've also got Chai Time at Cinnamon Gardens by Shankari Chandran. This is something a bit different from all of the other ones in a way. This is an Australian Sri Lankan author. This is set at a nursing home in Sydney, and it sounds very interesting and like a very sweet book, and I just love the cover of it. And then finally, I've got Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker. I read Japanese Gothic last month and really loved it, and I've been wanting to read this for ages, and my hold at the library finally came through. This is another horror book from Kylie Lee Baker, and I'm very intrigued and excited to read this one. It sounds like it's going to be a very heavy but interesting and engaging book. And then finally on my TBR, I would like to read Kitten by Stacey Yu. This is her debut book. It comes out at the end of July. Yeah, and it's kind of about this girl that has a very weird attachment attachment to her boyfriend's cat. And that's kind of all I know. I've been following Stacey on social media for a while, and hearing her talk about it makes me really excited. So I'm definitely going to be getting to that one before the end of the month. I have a digital copy of it, so we will see how we go. But I feel like I have talked for long enough, and I've got a giant stack of books that I will have to be trying to get through in the month. So we'll see how we go. But let me know what you're planning on reading in July, and if there's anything on this list that you have read. Also, let me know if you do prefer having these TBR and wrap-up videos combined or having them separate. I don't really know what to do. I feel like separate gives me a bit more time for them, but maybe combined is better and easier. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on my other social medias, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.